I'll do it. We have factored that all in, so we will not be losing any money through this.
You'd have to, you're not paying, you're not charging anymore, and you're giving more people access.
I don't have the workup right in front of me. We have done the workup and we have accounted for it. I promise you that. So, for the, let's see, for the board meeting, I can make sure that I have that so that you can, see that. But we took into account everything, and we actually are going to be exactly in the same boat.
By increasing the access, the charges.
Yeah, we're gonna save administrative costs.
Well, why did our assessments go down last year by $25?
You mean from 23?
The first year we were here, we paid $415.
Those were special assessments. So there was 2 special assessments that were hooked to the 390, if I'm not mistaken, David. And those fall off. They were for an X amount of time, and then I believe one fell off, and then the other one fell off the following year. So those are special assessments, and they're done for a specific amount of time.
For a special project or something?
Yes, so one was for roads, I believe, and what was the other one? Does somebody out there in the crowd know what? Fire department. So those were the 2 assessments that fell off, and now we're just down to the 390.
So this is gonna apply to every lot?
Every single lot.
Even if the assessments are lower, did we ever get that figured out? That every lot pays the same amount?
Every lot pays the same in Indian Harbor.
And when will this legal stuff be over? What's the latest on the legal stuff?
Well, right now we're gonna, we'll go to legal after we finish conversation with these slides so that we don't get it all jumbled, but if you wanna ask the legal question after, you're more than welcome.
Okay, somebody had their, certainly. Yeah, that was me. I was following up with John. You were talking about pool and security and things. We discussed that, and we decided, first of all, we have thousands of fobs. I'm not sure the count, but it's a lot that we got. I guess they came in lots of 2,000 or something. So we have them, they're sitting there doing nothing. By continuing to use the fob, rather than have security open the pool at 10 in the morning and close it at 8 at night or something like that, by using the fob, we track who's using the pool. And so if we have issues with vandalism or disturbing the peace or anything like that, we have a way to determine who was in there, which we hope will help. And then, yes, security may have to babysit the pool a little bit, especially on weekends in the summertime, especially a holiday weekend. So those are things that we're just gonna, it's a learning process. And so we're gonna ease our way into it. But that's some of the thinking that went into this, because we make nothing off of the pool fob. And where the numbers may not always add up strictly on numbers, like if you say, okay, well, by giving away all these fobs, we're losing $3,000 a year. But we're also losing all the administrative fee, because now you get a fob, it's a one-time deal, and you have it as long as you're here in the harbor. And we don't have to fool with it. And if somebody comes in and buys into the harbor, they get a fob and 2 gate passes right there, and we don't have to do anything more except renew the gate passes on a yearly basis. So it cuts down administratively, and that's where the lady asked the question about these numbers adding up. When you fold in administrative costs, those are unseen values that are hard to put a number on, but they're there and they're real. So, and also this.
This is a 1-year deal, right?
What's a 1 year? No, this is it. This is
free forever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, fob's free forever. You're going to get. Am I correct? You're going to get 2 renewals every year, and it's just folded into the assessment because it helps administratively, and we're always butting up against the state law about how assessments have to be treated and that sort of thing. So it helps in that regard too. And so it simplifies the entire accounting process, and it helps, I mean, we don't, I mean, I'll be happy to sit and talk with you about it all you want, but it does help administratively.
And keep in mind also, these lots and lots of problems that we have, they're already paid for. That cost is already absorbed right now, so that helps us, to get these out. Pardon? I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh, okay. Next question? Okay.
My name's Doug Courtney. We've lived in the harbor since 2003. I appreciate your research, and that was fantastic. I was on the roads committee for several years, and we had a separate budget to manage the roads. I've never seen a situation where we're in a deficit on roads money. How in the world, and with the risk of this bridge crossing Contrary Creek, we always kept a reserve. How are you planning on funding the roads around here?
We don't have that was a little misleading. I just wanted to show that we actually spent more money than what was in that roads account, because that was the concern, was where did that roads money go? So the extra money came from our capital reserve account that we already had. So we had roads account, our capital reserve account, and our operational accounts. And it was transferred from roads into the capital, went into operational because the bill was there and ready to go, and then more was transferred in from the capital improvements to cover that $210,000 check. So we still have money in our capital reserves account, and we still have money in our operational account. The other account was closed and no longer exists. So capital improvements come, and that's the roads. Those can only be fixed as we get to deposit money that we take in for assessments and other things that we have income coming in. That is what we will make, like the $66,000 if ballot 2 passes. That's going to go into capital reserve. That capital reserve money is there to do your roads, keep up your amenities, and all of those new funded projects that we decide on as a community. But at this point in time, we do not have a whole lot of money to fix these roads. So that is what we are working towards as a board, is trying to build the trust of the community so that you are comfortable with possibly funding things for our community, not for us as a board, but for us as a community, so that we can get these roads fixed, we can fix up this clubhouse and whatever else the community might want to do with money. But Greg showed you, the money we take in goes right out the door with operational expenses. Literally, our security, which we all love, is a huge chunk of our budget. Huge. I mean, it's over $400,000 a year, guys, for 48-hour security. So to answer your question, we're not in a deficit for roads. That's my buzzer. We're just literally don't have a separate account any longer for roads, and what we have as capital improvements is there for whatever capital improvements end up being able to be done with that money.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Sir?
Sorry, I came in late, so I think I missed a little bit. I understand we're looking at a $500 transactional assessment to the buyer. Is that right? I love that idea. All HOAs have it. Are we offsetting? Are we trying to take away an expense to current homeowners? I just want to make sure. Okay, because I was a little concerned. The 66,000 or however many transactions per year, if the real estate market does slow down even more, that 66,000 is not guaranteed, right? It's very transactional.
Yep.
So, okay, so there's no over-dependency on this forecasted budget, is that right?
That's why it's gonna go into capital,
Okay,
part of it.
understood. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So my name is Donald Mullins, been in the harbor we've owned the house since 2016, been living here for the last 3 or 4 years. My question again is really about roads. It's a follow-up to this gentleman's question. Can we, as part of this whole thing, actually recreate a roads account? I do believe that that is probably the single most important thing for a lot of us in the neighborhood. And I would really like to see that we have committed money to our roads over and above everything else.
The best, answer I can give for that is, from what we have been told, legally you cannot set aside a specific amount of money from general assessment. You can set aside a specific amount of money from special assessment. So from a general assessment, that general assessment money must go into the operational accounts, the operational side of the budget. So from that operational side of the budget, once we balance that budget, whatever money we have, then we can, as a homeowners association, your board, we will move money into the capital side, which then that side, capital reserve side, will be for any capital improvements. But we cannot say we take in X amount of assessments, 10% is going to go to roads. We cannot legally do that. Can we put out to the masses because we want our roads fixed in August? If that's what you guys want, is all the roads fixed, capital improvement side can come up with that number. It can be put on the ballot for a special assessment. Then all of that money will go into capital reserves and it will be designated only for roads. But that is the only way that we can do that.
So it's like a subledger.
You are talking to non-subledger knowledge. So
Yeah, that's what Maureen's talking about, kind of goes back to what Doug asked. Used to, we had a dedicated amount of the assessment that went to roads. The state does not allow that anymore. If it is an assessment, it is by law goes into the general fund. On the other hand, a special assessment by law is designated to a particular thing. So we could have a special assessments to fix roads. Special assessments also can have a time limit, and almost always do. They don't have to, but they almost always do. So if we have a special assessment, $10 a month for 2 years, designated to road improvement, that's where it's all going to go. You can't use it anywhere else. But we can't make that, we can't make that designation anymore with general assessments, which is why they did away a few years ago, 5 or 6 or 8 years ago, with the roads account. We keep it on the books, but it's no longer, it used to be a separate checking account that was controlled by the roads committee. The board had no access to it, and they don't allow that anymore. So, if I'm wrong, if somebody knows more about it than that, but that's the way it's been told to me.
Can I just ask a follow-up question? So what, as part of this whole thing, what's it gonna take? Are we gonna have enough money for our roads? Or are we gonna need a special assessment to get our roads fixed?
at this point in time, no, we do not have enough money to fix all of our roads.
No way.
So, I mean, you saw the screen.
I am. That's why I'm just asking. So maybe that's something we do need to think about.
Yes, and that's what capital improvements, as soon as we get through this budget and the things that have to do with it towards the end of this year, then capital improvements is going to start working with roads committee, maintenance committee, with all of you out there and getting ideas of what you want. And then those can all be ballot items where, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the other stuff to me, I guess, Maureen, is like incidental, but security and roads are the biggest. Now, I mean, the amount of money we're spending on security, I get it, but it's coming from somewhere. We have to have functional roads in our community. And for it
Absolutely,
has to be
100%.
fixed, right?
But to get those functional roads, we need people to pay their general assessment.
I hear you. I absolutely hear you, and I support you completely. So without a doubt, voting for your ballot, but I'm just saying, if we can do the stuff with the roads along with it, or whenever you decide, that is just as important as everything else we're talking about today?
Oh, 100% the roads are important, absolutely.
And let me emphasize, I don't know if everybody's aware, because I was not aware until a few months ago, that we had 2 cul-de-sacs in this harbor when it was created back in the early 70s that were never put in. They're just dirt fields. Well, guess what? People are buying those lots now, so now we're obligated to put cul-de-sacs, 2 cul-de-sacs in, and to get the engineers going and things like that. So that's eating up a lot of our road budget right now. And going back to the bridge, you know, we want to make sure the bridge is safe. We're getting inspection on that. So these are the things that we're putting in place. But I just wanted to mention the 2 cul-de-sacs, because I can't remember, I don't know if we've got the bids for them yet, but it's,
It'd be up to 100,000.
yeah, for 2 cul-de-sacs,
100,000.
probably 100,000. Okay.
No,
It's
right?
for both, wasn't it?
We've gotten some ballpark estimates, from, yeah, with, we.
Oh, okay.
And he's throwing around numbers like 30,000.
Oh, okay.
50,000 total. But, you know, we also have the engineering study thing that's still part of the cost. So when I say 60, that's like the minimum. It will be a little bit more than 60.
Two things, food for thought on roads. Our cars don't tear these roads up, trucks tear these roads up. If you drive on a state highway, you have 2 axles, you pay a certain amount of tax every year. If you have 6 axles, you pay more. Our cars are not tearing the roads up, these trucks are. Most of the homes being built in here are by developers, not future homeowners, but not, most of them are developers. Yes, it would be a cost to the potential homeowner. But we need to, I would suggest through the ACC, we have a fee. You know, let's take a number. You got 10 concrete trucks, you got maybe 5 gravel trucks bringing base in, you got masonry, you got sheetrock trucks. Let's say you have an average of 20 trucks, and that's probably light per home. You come up with some sort of number per permit for a new home. And if you have a homeowner pouring a concrete, you know, a concrete driveway after the fact, you know, what's the number, you know, what's the yardage? We know the yardage, we know the square footage by our ACC permits. So by that, you can determine you're going to have X amount of trucks in here. That, to me, is a very good way to capture some revenue that needs to go to where the roads are being, how the roads are being torn up. The trash trucks, you're not going to stop that, because we're going to pay. If we say, okay, Mr. Trash Man, you're going to have to fix roads, or you're going to do this, each and every one of us are going to pay. That, you know, that's just a, I guess, trying to say that's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have them. The trash trucks today weigh a lot more. They, you know, they sit there and they shake and they vibrate, you know, they compact. 20 years ago, that's not how the trash trucks ran. So I'm saying that these roads probably weren't built for the weight and the capacity that's being put on them today by trash trucks. I'm not picking on trash trucks, I'm just using that as an example. We all love our trash man to get rid of our stuff. So I'm not picking on them, I'm just saying that is a big problem with the roads. These roads, you know, they're not built for that. You know, and another area of revenue that Mike and Scott did a lot of homework on, and Rick, I think you're involved in too, was the Airbnb traffic. Y'all did a lot of committees. I think when I was on the board, y'all were close. Y'all just didn't agree on a number with the Airbnb Association or the Airbnb owners. But that's a lot of expense there that can be captured. And should be, because they impact every homeowner, especially those that have them next door on the water. So, that's my spiel.
Okay, thank you.
Food for thought.
And I would just add a little brief comment to that. I've recently been involved with John and Rhodes, and Danny and Rusty and Larry are all on the Roads Committee. And you can drive around in the harbor, and every place there's a trash can, there's extra heavy wear on the asphalt from those trucks starting and stopping. We already have some fees for concrete work out here, but the trash trucks, those garbage trucks, I won't pick on the guys, but the trucks, they're tremendous load on this road. And I guarantee you drive around and start looking, and anywhere where somebody sets their trash can, that will be the first place the wear will show up, because that's where the truck stops and starts. And when you stop one of those trucks, all that energy from that truck goes into that road. And that's where the trouble begins. I guarantee you. Say again?
I said, in the end, our trash, we want our trash to last much more.
Yep.
Because if they're gonna raise their price, whatever, you do, you charge them for their.
And yeah, they have to minimize labor and maximize automation.
It's funny, we have what we changed from one trash company to the other trash company.
Yeah, but it was still trucks.
Right, I know, what I'm saying, but they complain because our rates go up for that. So what would they do if it goes up again?
Yeah, and cigarettes used to cost 10 cents a pack too. You know.
Okay, I got another question here. Here we go.
With the contract with the trash people, they give us like a kickback amount of money each year. Do you know how much that is? Because we can't pick our own trash.
Correct, we do have a contract, and we get, we're dealing with a few issues with Frontier that we're trying to solve. They went several months, I noticed, when I took over in August without paying us anything. So we are trying to solve that problem right now. So we did get a check from them. It doesn't look like we're on track for the same amount of money we got last year for the contract. So we are delving into that right now with them. Last year, I believe it was a little over $40,000, or right at that $40,000 that we got from them. This year, we're running a little behind that. So we're trying to make them show us why, because it's on a however many people have contracts with them, that's how we get the money from them. It's not a set amount.
I get that, but that money goes up into the general fund, it's not assessed for roads?
It's not assessed for roads, no.
No,
It's not assessed for roads.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, okay, Larry.
Thank you. And thank you all. That was, presentation's awesome. Made things clear to everybody, I think. And things that have been discussed but never have been presented this way. But anyway, a couple of things about roads right quick. Wondering about, one, we've been saying for the last years and years that the price to maintain our roads, just to maintain the roads. And it started out when I first started looking at this thing about $125,000 a year. Now we're saying that last year and the year before, we're getting up close to $200,000 a year, not to improve anything, just to keep it maintained, Right now, we're looking at new stuff like the cul-de-sacs. And we're looking at when we do repair a place, like in front of a trash can, we don't just put some asphalt on top of it and call it good. We dig it up, we do a better base so it makes it last. That makes it cost more. So understand that we have to have enough money to do this, but right now, I'm going with what you said, Maureen, and thank you very much for the research, but the money that we spent, the $202,000 was for last year. That was money that was for 2024 repairs. We don't have anything for this year, and we've been trying to get the money, and that's where we run into this thing, say we don't have money for roads, right? So we can't do any repairs in 2025, and we haven't done. So that money that we spent in January was for repairs in 2023.
It was
Or
for repairs in
2024.
2024. You are correct. There was minimal money spent on roads for 2025. Absolutely, because there was
So
no money there.
That's when I said there was no money. So when we went to look at the cul-de-sacs, we said we can't fix the cul-de-sacs, even though there are homes already built there. There's a mobile home over here off of in phase 4, I think it's phase 4, it's already up there on, off Pawnee. And we don't have the cul-de-sacs done. But my question is, at this point, we don't have the money. We know that we're gonna have to spend at least $225,000 a year on roads. We know that. So we're gonna have a special assessment.
Correct.
It's imperative. It's not a maybe or maybe not. So is our plan to do that on the next annual ballot?
Correct.
Okay. In August, for August, our next ballot?
In August, and
For that special assessment, or any special assessment,
Yeah.
we go to that.
And I'm going to reiterate, for our budget for 2026, we are taking into account the assessments that we are not going to probably get because we haven't gotten them in the past. Which,
Talking about because of the lawsuits and this.
no, and not even necessarily lawsuits. They're not the only people that, because even some people in those areas that are part of the lawsuit, they pay their dues, the $390. So it's not all of them that don't pay. But here's the thing, Indian Harbor citizens, if everybody would pay their dues, we would not have a problem keeping the roads up every year, keeping your amenities up. And that's all of us, you know, and I understand hardships and things of that nature. I do. But special assessments may not pass because we have a lot of people that say, hey, if those people would pay their dues, I wouldn't have to pay extra. So we are starting the collection process.
Bingo. And that, right now, that's my next question.
Okay, so we are starting the collection process. It takes time. There are legal steps we have to take to go through that. We are going to try to get your money, because this is you guys' money for your association. It's not picking on one person, it's not picking on one area, it's literally putting us all in the same boat, at the same level, doing the same things, reaping the same benefits as each other, as your neighbor and the neighbor next door to you. So that is what we are attempting. We just want everybody to be at that same point. And then we can start, you know, maybe getting a pickleball court, a cover for the playground. You know, our roads are going to look awesome. Our front gate's going to look awesome. Our lawns will be mowed on a regular basis. All those things will take pride in our community, just like last night with the whole trick-or-treat thing, you know, seeing all those people coming together as a community. We're leaving all the crazy behind and enjoying each other and being community-driven. That's where we need to go. We need to stop with the I'm getting treated worse than the person next to me, because I just don't see it. We're just, same expectations for everybody is what we're trying for, both in assessment fees and what we ask of you to keep your property looking like. Same expectation. That's it.
Keep it clean and clean up and collect.
Take some pride. We want to pride in
And
this
keep in
community.
mind on the collections and things like that, it's not, you send a letter out and it's done. You know, there's a process that we have to follow, and it takes several months. So just keep that in mind.
That's been shown to everybody for a long time, the process. What happened, the process didn't take place. And you had it somewhere, I saw it, where you read on town square or something, the whole process.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen with great vigor.
And that's what everybody's telling us they want, and that's what we're trying to do.
Right.
We're trying to get that in like the amenity part, we're trying to make it all one deal, so you pay one payment, so we're listening to you. It's just gonna give us some time, but we are working on it.
Hello, my name's Charlie. I live in phase 5, and I think it's a great presentation. I think we're on. Maybe I can see a little light now and everything, but I would, you know, like there was a lot of great questions here tonight from everybody. But I would like to see a follow-up, like on the next meeting, on a bunch of these questions that are, you know, when you say, well, to my understanding, this stays in this account here, or whatever, you know. If we have to follow up, you know, on it, you know, maybe we won't be going around in circles like we have for a while. I mean, that's all there. This great job. Appreciate it.
Let me say, I don't know if y'all are aware too, how the process that the board goes through. Of course, this is our first meeting that we have in the month, and exactly what you just said, we take your comments. Now, the next meeting that the board has is what we call a workshop. And we take all your comments, and the board just meets, and we listen to you, and we try to implement things, and try to answer those questions. And then that workshop gets us ready for the board meeting. That, that we have to actually vote on everything, or things maybe y'all suggest, and things like that. So just so you know, that's the three-step process that we go through, every month at a board. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know how many people, percentage-wise, are not paying dues. And if there's any way that they can be charged to drive on our streets that we're paying for.
We've talked about this and trying to get the number, throughout the whole harbor. Greg, did we ever come up with?
Well, I can tell you this much. I don't know what the percentage is, but we expected to take in $919,000 in assessments, and we have only to date taken in $738,000. So there is a pretty big gap there.
If I may, I'm Dave Hoagland. You'll probably know me from last year. So anyway, there is a priority of payments to be paid. So anything we were to charge, no matter what, late fees, if there was some sort of road payment, that would go to whatever assessments are passed due first before they go anywhere else. That's dictated by state. So that might help you a little bit on that question.
So the money from unpaid, if they pay it all tomorrow, God, that would go to the past due.
Correct. Correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so then, with the, breakout, because I think a lot of people, a lot of us may have experience with looking at financials, but I think the average Joe does not understand how financials work, and you taking that information and putting it into a methodology that anyone can look at and understand, I think was the missing piece of the puzzle for so many people all these years, constantly saying, where's my money going? Because they don't understand how to read a financial. So, bravo, because that's exactly what it's been doing. Because that is critical. And then secondary, I think to your point about charging to drive on the road, my assumption is then that we give everyone a fob and 2 passes to come in. They have to be in good standing. Right. So when you're no longer in good standing, my assumption is those amenities get shut off.
Correct.
So then you don't have a right to use the pool or getting for your using your sticker. All those will get shut down. So it sounds like that will also, that's like an also kind of an additional benefit potentially, right? That y'all were probably had in the back of your mind, amongst other things, about rolling in and expanding the amenities to all. So I think that's very smart, and thank you all for the work you've done on that.
Real quick to answer, also what David brought up is, it is mandated by the state that when money is paid, whatever that money is for, except for a contractual item, that money has to be applied all the way back to past dues. So we're working with management because the numbers have been a little bit skewed. And you're going to see some changes in the financials if you kind of look back over time. Because I was like, well, if, for instance, we looked and we saw a problem with somebody renting the clubhouse, and it showed $34.50 was paid for the clubhouse. And I was like, wait a minute, the clubhouse rents for $300. So where did that money go? Well, looking back, tracing it, that person had past due assessments that rented this facility. Therefore, they have to take that money that was paid for the clubhouse and move it towards past assessments. And I said, well, wait a minute then, because that means that now the clubhouse wasn't paid for. They should not have been able to. So we are implementing a new policy with management as to when that person, and this goes for many things that come in for payment, okay? We have the same problem with ACC permits, okay? They come in, they pay for their ACC permit, all of a sudden the money's not there. We're like, where did the money go for that permit? Oh, it went to pay past due assessments. So we have had to start implementing where we have to be able to inform that member, I understand you're trying to pay for this permit, but unfortunately, you have past due assessments. Therefore, I have to take this, that was somebody else's, not mine. I have to take this money and move it to that past assessment. Therefore, your permit is not paid. Therefore, you need to pay for your permit again. And that's where we were lost in the accounting side of it. They were not coming back to these people and saying, hey, your permit's not paid. We had a paid permit, but the money wasn't applied to it. It was applied to a past assessment. So it was almost like, you know, the income is there. It's just that we didn't have this marked as paid. We are working on that, so there's going to be big changes in that area. So don't be surprised if you go in and you have past due assessments that you will get to rent the clubhouse, but you're going to have to pay your past due assessments and then pay for the clubhouse. So we're not preventing you from getting the clubhouse or the permit or whatever. We're just telling you, you're not paying for that item right now. You're paying for this item. Therefore, you need to pay for this item also. So that will, I think, help us in the long run also. So things that we're catching, and we are catching stuff for you guys.
And you need to understand that's by state law. If we get a payment from you, it by law has to go to assessment first. And that apparently was not always clear on our side as well as yours. And it caused some issues. It was now aware of it.
My name is Pam Sterling. I live up on Anaconda. And the road up there is hanging in there, barely. But my question is, once you go through all of the getting, telling these people that, sorry, you have to pay your dues, and I've been in my life where I didn't have two nickels to rub together, but I always paid my bills somehow or another. And God willing, that's how I did it. But what happens if they don't ever pay them? And they go, on you. Yeah, what are you going to do? Make them move? Or sell their property out from under them? Or
Basically, there's a process for that. And
foreclosure process, but that's way down the line when things get really serious.
Yeah, but how far down the line does it take to get these people to pay?
Well, when it's only $400 a year, you can go a long time before you make it worth the legal fees. That's part of the problem. I mean, if it's going to cost you just a number.
Okay.
If it costs you $2,000 to foreclose, well, if you don't owe 5 years worth, you're not even up to the cost rate you need to do it.
It will go up significantly once you start the collections process, because there will be amounts that by law you can put on that account per month.
Plus, you can go through all that process, and they can come in and make a payment. You got to start over. They can set up a payment plan, and that makes them in good standing. They can owe you $2,000 and then come in and pay 20, as an example, and kill the process. Because now you have a payment plan. And those are just numbers I'm throwing out.
So
it may be more than $20.
Back to the.
But if you set up a payment plan according to the state, you are now in good standing.
That is correct, but if you don't make the payment the following month, you are now in bad standing again, and we can go after you. And the fees that were put on are also fees that will stay with you. So it's beneficial to pay it sooner than later, because I believe, I'm not 100% sure, it's like $50 a month they can be put on their account for late fees. So if you go, and those don't go away just because you start paying. So there is an advantage to paying. So the collection process hopefully will work as expected, and there are things that we can do legally to get that money from them. And that is that's all we can do, is the legal side of it is all we can do, and we will do that as far as we can do it.
Can you answer who's gonna do that? Who's following up to do this collection?
Okay, so there is, of course this is new, right? We're just starting this. So, through PMI, they obviously, with the management contract, they have some, part in this process, right? Setting up payment plans and sending out the notices and things of that nature. Then at some point, that goes actually to a collection agency, which we have one that we are talking with as the management company and the board, that will handle that, for us. And as that process goes along, that's how that will all work out. So we're looking into the collection actual agency.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
I'm Dave Bucher. Moved here in 1983. How long we lived here? Lived in phase 4. I just saw a tree that was 17 feet in diameter, so we bought from phase 4. So we're all by ourselves up here at the corner of Goliad and Huron Drive. I know the original plating was really jacked up because I have 170 feet frontage. It's 2 lots. My neighbor, who's no longer a neighbor because it's another disturbed place in that neck of my wood, is 170 foot this way, and that's 1 lot. So I pay twice. But I'm not worried about the $25. I'm paying 50 for the increase, which I've questioned before, but there's nothing I can do about it. But my concern is what you've been talking about the past dues, about people that I know in the community who live in Indian Harbor. Say, I've never paid the dues, and I ain't going to. And then they're right down my lovely street, which we truly avoid, here on Drive and on Pawnee. There's places down there that are falling over, and you're talking about the cleanup. What is that? It is all the great homes that are going in. Somebody just bought a lot just next to mine, and 2 or 3 right down Huron. They're going to build some of those little, 800 to 1,200 square foot homes. That's cool. I've never had neighbors that clean up. That's going to be like in my front porch. But anyway, and I guess those builders are all paying their dues. And it's nice to see the new homes, because when I first bought here in 83, there was nothing on Goliad. But all these places down that are renters, are there any dues being paid on that? So can somebody get a bulldozer on some that are not occupied and are falling over? Because it's disgraceful. We've always paid our dues where I live. It's part of the deal. It didn't matter if I was in phase 4, phase 1, or wherever it was. But, for eyesore, and behind my house, there's one that's falling over. And the dude who I play the drums, but not as right as he does. But anyway, but it's another dump. And right next to him is one of those new homes that's occupied. They got kids and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost a health hazard. What I'm living next to. And I just, what if there's anything to be done about that, or is being done about that, and the assessment's driving up the wall because of people that do not pay it. And we always do. And it's just, like you're talking about how much we've not collected, and that leads a lot to it. So, but I look down that road and down behind me back on Pawnee, and all of those places that are falling over are dues being paid on those. They're just sitting there. Yeah,
I can help address part of that. I actually have 813, the one trailer. I've been cleaning it up over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The speed of time, you remember what it used to look like.
I know, man. I appreciate that, dude. Yeah.
I've been slowly getting there. But something the management company has been doing is they drive through the neighborhood and they've been turning in the dilapidated structures into the county.
Okay.
And there has been a lot of fines and fees. Because like the place that's next to me, the only thing left is a bunch of trash and the old frame from mobile home.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And the BMI is actually going through the neighborhood, and because there hasn't been any mechanism that has been exercised, it's in place, but we have not exercised it as a community, is the fine, which is gonna change here in the very near future. The BMI is then getting the county involved, saying, hey, you need to get this out here as a hazard, you know, the windows are broken, you know, wildlife hazard, hazard people, and they have been coming out and doing fines and whatnot through the county, which goes through the JP court, but until we get an actual compliance thing going in, you're not gonna do it. And to address the lady's question on that, it takes 9 months to foreclose to an HOA. I've already did the research because I was curious how long it actually took it. I mean, because they have to let you know in 30 days has to go by, and then you get the second notice, and then 30 days go by, and then you follow the actual paperwork, and it takes 90 days.
And then you start all over.
That's it. And once you make one payment, it clears the books and you start all over again. It's a very vicious game to play.
And also keep in mind, that I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. There's lots here, we can't find the owners. You know, we got an owner on the lot, we can't locate them, so that's taking a process. Going back to what you just said, I remember last year, you know, we wanted code compliance to get this started, and it takes a while to get everything going, and that's what we're doing now. It's just now starting all over the harbor, so it's gonna take a process, and I hear you about the mobile homes. Now, we don't have anything to do about the size of the lots, because that was done way before we were here, but I can't remember how many new homes we average a year now, was it?
We're averaging about 11 a month.
Coming in, so.
Property transactions, I'm sorry, new homes, what are we doing, Richard? How many new homes are we
Would you-
doing this
Right
year so
now,
far?
we're about to 16.
16 for the whole year, or?
No,
That's 16's active.
it's being built right now.
Okay, 16 being built right now.
So there's quite a few, if you just drive down the whole neighborhood, there's new homes coming up all over the place, which I think is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
And Rich, there's another issue about this whole foreclosure thing, that very little sickness is the state of Texas, which is kind of jumping our lap. And that is, school taxes cannot be forgiven. So if you have a piece of property that you want to condemn and clean it up, put something on it, and they hadn't paid their school taxes in 10 years, you have to pay all that, and the school district is not allowed to forgive it, but you're stuck with it. So some of these properties, we've had here in the harbor, we've had owners that we found, and they said, we not only didn't know we don't want it, it's yours, and we don't take it because there's $5,000 of taxes on it, because they forgot they owned it and hadn't paid them in 20 years. And the school district can't forgive you. That property is essentially dead. Because unless the state comes up with some relief to get rid of those school taxes, you're stuck with them. And they're, and you pay your taxes, you know, sorry, no.
So to that point, should we not be waiting long? So to that exact point, because inaction has taken place for so many years, and we have to stop looking at the past, because we can't fix the past, but that inaction put us in the place where we're at, right? So starting from now, that says to me, you cannot wait. You have to take immediate and consistent action when people go in arrears to get them up to speed so that we don't ever get into that place where now,
what is the solution when you have a property that's worth $2,000 and there's $5,000 in school tax?
Well, sure, but at least when you foreclose on it, it might cost us on the front end, but on the back end, when you get to sell it to someone else, you will make it back there, and then you also have someone who's paying their dues. Well, you won't necessarily on every single property, you're right, but I would hazard a guess, how many people would be willing to even lose maybe $1,000 on a property to just get it cleared off if someone else is actually gonna pay their dues fit night. To me, that is money I am willing to pay.
Right.
But there's still a process.
If you had more money
Yes.
to do something, it'd be easy to do.
Okay, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
okay, James.
Are y'all ready for me? My name is James Clugston.
Let's let him speak. He's got a right to speak.
Oh, I just got one question for you, Ricky. Is this your signature on this settlement agreement?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I got a copy of this settlement agreement from the district court records.
It's not available from the district.
Sure it
I
is.
don't know where you got it, Jay, but it didn't come.
Sure it is. You want to read the timestamp?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. I didn't think so.
Well, it's
And I can get it certified.
Minutes, James. So,
Okay, and with my copy from the district court, they give you a redacted
he gets his
last page.
Let him get 3 minutes.
But I have that copy of the redacted page. Assessments for all lots in section 2 and 4 shall be set at $18 per year. This is their settlement, his signature. The assessment shall remain $18 per year until such time as an assessment election, which is what we're doing here, as authorized by the laws of the state of Texas to increase such assessments may be had, which is why we're all here. Lots in section 4 shall receive $390 credit as per assessment pay rate. They're also going to receive 2 gate passes at no charge. Quite frankly, I don't know why Linda Brandt, she lived in phase 2, but phase 4 got a lot more than what everybody else. And of course, there's an non-discrimination or non-disclosure agreement, also part of this, written in, along with several other things that is in this thing, including where I got the last page that they didn't want to talk about. Offline. This was already posted. The difference between $390 and $18 for the phases 2, 4, 9, and 18 is approximately $200,000. That's why you got $700,000 and not $900,000. This is. I'm sorry, I'm not here to. No, you know what? I can understand when people don't want to listen to it. So I'll tell you what. I'll give you back the mic. I'm done. You can go ahead and keep on with this
I don't want to hear
fantasy.
your rhetoric.
Okay, hang
You
on.
don't want to be a part of this community. Get the F out.
Ma'am, due all respect, he is a member of this community, and as much as we might disagree with him, he does have a right to be here and to speak his mind. So I'll give him that.
I didn't sue. I didn't go to the settlement agreement. My name is nowhere on here. If y'all want to blame somebody, talk with the people who are on this. You can start with him.
You want to blame everyone. You call her an idiot. You call her stupid. You are disrespectful to everyone in this neighborhood.
Okay, no.
Can I say something?
Okay, yeah, Lynn.
I
Thank you,
just
Jane.
want to commend whoever went and cleaned this bar area up back here.
Thank you. I think I'm going to leave.
I'll go back and take a look at it before we actually.
Well, and going back to Mr. Clutch's deal, he has we might disagree with him. He has his rights. We're a free country, and we listen to him, and so that's what we're going to do, whether we like it or don't like it, whether it's the truth or not the truth. But he does have a right to speak, and that's what we're going to do. Now, going back to the deal, there's been a bunch of people working back there on the bar, getting it cleaned up so we can do some repairs. We cleaned that little library up here. That's where we have a little conference now for the board to meet. But eventually, what we'd like to do back in the little bar area is, in the near future, is, you know, on a Saturday or Sunday for those people like sports or soccer or whatever it is, for each of the people come up here. We'll have a new TV up there, and hopefully, you know, we can all come up here as a community. Doesn't cost anything. and we could have just a place where we go meet together.
My name's Connie, I live in Phase 5. My question is for you directly.
Okay.
Are you ever going to decide to be a productive, contributing member of this community, or are you going to continue to sue and not pay?
Do you know how many lawsuits I've been involved with? With Indian Harbor. How many lawsuits have I been involved with in Indian Harbor?
Are you going
Of course you don't care, because that number's 0.
Are you
I have not sued
ever
once.
stay productive? You're not productive.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know we come in front and we're all frustrated.
No,
I don't want to turn this
I think
into.
that's a fair question.
It
I
is.
think you should answer it.
My personal opinion, I am being productive. I am, you see, you're very, very small. No.
Okay. No, right now, I appreciate your question. We're not getting a debate. Let me tell you what the town hall is about. It's to listen to people. I don't want, if we start arguing with each other, and I know a lot of people are frustrated, but if we start making accusations, nobody's accomplishing anything.
We just got it all over Facebook.
Yeah, and I understand. Take Facebook with a grain of salt out of it.
Just block it.
So.
Why I'm here is because it is all over Facebook, and I need to know what the truth is, because I may buy 3 more lots, and if I keep buying lots, and next thing I know, I'm paying $350 or $450 assessment, and I got 12 lots. Well, I got a pretty good bill, don't I?
Yeah.
I got 6 lots. I'm thinking about buying 3 more lots. Now, that makes the decision of what the lawsuit says. It guides me on, as a businessman, it guides me on my net.
Right.
And that's what I want to know. And then you said there's NDCs on it.
Well,
I don't know what the deal is, but you see where I'm at. If I'm going to buy more lots and clean them up, because I am cleaning lots up down there, you know, if you ask some of the girls, I bought my permits, I'm cleaning the lots up. That's not free. All that stuff costs money. If I want to tear a building down, it's $3,000 to tear the building down. You know, that's stupid to tear it down and make it nice. At least if it was gone, it would be not an eyesore anymore. But until I know what the deal is, and I don't know how to get the deal to know what's going on.
You don't know.
Okay, so if you're referring to what James had brought up, is that what you're referring to, the mediation?
I just want to know if
Okay,
I'm
so
going to buy more houses in
okay.
Phase 18.
Gotcha.
Right? So what's the deal? Am I going to pay 18 or 18?
So there's a couple things there. So number one, there is an NDA, and we cannot, mediation is confidential, which is why you can't go down to the county clerk's office or the 355th district court, and you can't get it. So that we can't discuss. But if you want more information on that, you can call the office. They're under NDAs also. There is also an appeal out there that is going to affect some things, possibly our way, hopefully, or the other way. So you are actually in a point right now where there is literally nothing that we can tell you that's going to answer that question for you.
Would you like to see the timestamp?
Hang on just a second.
Hold on. Everybody's assessments are $390. $415.
Really?
You know, what it was before down there was a laugh, a joke, right? But do I want to pay $425 on small properties?
So here's the thing, is if this ballot one passes, when this ballot one passes, I hope everybody in Indian Harbor will be paying the same amount, $415. That is what will be per lot.
Yeah, that's unacceptable for me.
And I understand that.
Like, I gotta have 2 lots to dig into to even have a house on.
That's your choice. Yeah, that's your choice. I appreciate your question. We got another question back here to move on. I'm sorry.
I know we're all frustrated with these lawsuits that seem to some of us very frivolous. My question is, what is left? Where do we stand? And why have we not gone back and countersued these people for attorney fees and court costs? That seems to be the same people suing over and over again. That to me is very frustrating that we haven't countered that.
One word. Mediation. That, I know you don't, but that's where it gets stopped.
Hang on.
The legal side is very difficult to talk to. There is a Rule 11 against Worley and his groups. He has brought suit. In fact, the suit that went to mediation, which I'm just kind of getting into some of this stuff. I'm like many people, I just thought, okay, everything's being taken care of. Now that I'm on the board, I'm like, whoa, a lot of things were taken care of. So not anything bad to the boards, because there's so much to take care of that you do have to put some stuff behind you. But looking back through the court documents, the initial, whatever you call, I'm not good with words, but the initial suit brought against Indian Harbor, the 202, blah, 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 that went to mediation, that was initiated by Worley. After the fact that he had signed the Rule 11 that actually says he will not bring suit against Indian Harbor. Yet it was allowed. Why is that happening? These are the things that we're trying to get into now, and we just ask you guys to trust that we are looking into this stuff and what our options are moving forward. Because just because he switched lawyers to Sorrell did not fix his Rule 11 agreement. And that, every one of you out there can go to the state board for the lawyers, and you can put something in there. You can print that document out, you can get the Rule 11, I'll give it to you, and you can send that off to the bar against him because he broke that commitment that he made legally. So it's not going to take just the board to do this, and there's some things our hands are tied as to what we can do because we can't spend your money necessarily on all things, right? Sometimes it takes the members getting together as a group and saying, hey, we're done with this. We want to go after these people for using our assessments, yours and mine, to pay for these crazy legal suits. Just because they have their beliefs. They're allowed to have them. They are allowed to sue us. But we are also allowed to sue them back. And we can make Worley accountable for not upholding. That's my personal opinion. So we just need a lot of like-minded people that are willing to group together and do similar things.
So when you said that you have the right to go to sue them back, why haven't we done it? And
You did.
Are you saying because we haven't done it, or?
No, you did.
Well,
that's why I said it's kind of a tricky thing, because if we as the board go and sue Worley, there's a little legality issue there, because we're making a decision to spend your money to go after a suit. We can't do that, in my opinion, without you guys saying, go do it with our money as a group, as a majority vote, or whatever it would end up having to be.
But you did file a countersuit.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, but then again.
You did file a countersuit. I mean, they were sued, okay?
I want to get in an argument. I bet you call a meeting, let's be respectful, and let somebody talk so we can hear them.
As you guys are out there discussing all these things that make you unhappy and the things that you dislike, you as members can go and sue these people because they have taken your money, maybe. That's where we have to seek a lawyer as members, not as a board. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
And I'll say this, I'm not an attorney, I'm a retired firefighter. I don't know all the legal things as much as I might agree with you. I just can't go out. You gotta have a reason to do it. You gotta have the law on your side. And right now, I'm not an attorney. That's why we refer a lot of our questions to me. Mike?
I have one question on all that. I wanted to clarify one thing that you were asking about, just to kind of give you a little picture. There's been three interesting decisions here. The first one, when we were originally sued, Maureen mentioned the 211, what was it? Rule 11, which essentially, that was part of the outcome of the first trial. And it said, the attorney, Mr. Worley, could not sue us anymore. He agreed to that. Then he turned around and sued us again. When that happens, the judge has to stand up and say no. The Judge Weeks was a visiting judge from Parker County, no attachment to Hood County, not an elected official, and in my opinion, I don't think he did a great job. He let Worley continue. What can we do about it? Well, we've got it on appeal in a court in Corpus right now. Then the third one came along, this most recent one, and the judge did his job this time. He said, Mr. Worley, you're not part of this. He admonished him in open court and told him to sit down and stay out of it. But Worley had already gone and gotten another attorney to officially take the case. And so it continued. But at least the judge had the wherewithal to stand up and say, you cannot be directly involved in it. He was sitting there passing notes back and forth. So, but the point is, my whole point is, what's right and what you think should happen is not always what's going to happen. Judges have immense power in their courtroom, and if they see it some other way, it's just the way it is. And that's what we've run up against.
Well, mine's a simple question. We have these town halls, and this always winds up with this same nonsense, right? And everybody answers the question, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an attorney. Why don't we have the damn attorney in the building so he can answer some of these questions? No, we're already paying the guy.
No, we pay per hour, so if we want him to come to a town hall to answer you guys' questions about what can be done, we would have to pay him to have him come. If that's something that you guys want to spend the money on, then, I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, because we always wind up in the same spot.
Absolutely.
So if we had one and say, okay, Dewey Cheatham Howe is gonna be here next week, and he's gonna be here to answer your questions, so let's have a room full of people to answer the question, or ask the question, and he can answer them. Then we wouldn't have these Facebook attorneys and all this other nonsense trying to put in their 2 cents. And put a stop to it.
And what we've been doing is we take the questions that we refer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We do listen to that.
So this is another question we can ask him for an explanation.
And we do have conversations with them.
I mean, I deal with attorneys every day in my job, and I can pick up the phone and call, ask questions, and they don't charge me by the hour for that, because we already have them on retainer, right? We're already paying them.
We don't have any of those.
They're not on retainer.
Well, maybe we ought to think about that for a minute.
Okay.
And just put a stop to all this circus here.
I just have one more thing to say. Do we have any numbers on how much money we spend on attorneys and awards for all these lawsuits?
Greg,
I'd
would
love to
you
know.
feel like you
That's a
plug that in?
million-dollar question.
That's a good question,
You need to sit down.
I need to sit down.
No.
She's gonna fall down.
Yeah, fall down.
I know.
Okay, legal fees that we have spent up to the end of September, $70,000 approximately.
Just this year?
That's just this year, but we still have about
We've got 75 coming.
about 75,000 we still have to pay this year.
So we're 150.
So we're about 150-ish for this year alone. Do take into account that we do have insurance. So we didn't pay for each case. We paid the first 25,000. They pay this next 50,000, and then we take over after the 75,000 mark completely. So if you put that figure in there, we're missing for one of the case this year, 50,000. It would have been 200,000 if we paid that also. That is, those lawsuits are killing us too. So that's the thing is, we want to make all the people in 2 and 4 and 9 and 18 happy. Because if you think that doing collections is a great idea, it is. But guess what? There are lawsuits coming. You think doing the co-compliance is a great idea? It is. But there are going to be lawsuits coming. The lawsuits will not stop if we do things that make the people unhappy. And collections, co-compliance, assessments, they make people unhappy. And for somebody who had asked, we have over $700,000 of assessments over the years of Indian Harbor that have not been collected. So there is a big chunk out there. Now you can only go back so many years, but there's a big chunk out there that we're going after. We're not just going after last year's. We're going after several years of collection.
Okay, thank you, Bree.
Can I just have a follow-up on that?
I'd like to-
Okay, somebody mentioned putting on the ballot, that we would, authorize you guys to countersue in these suits. I know I've been involved in a lawsuit before that we were sued, and we immediately, when we, issued our, response, said, okay, you know, blah, 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 and we are going to countersue you for court costs and attorney fees. So is that something that we want to think about putting on the ballot, that we give the board authorization to represent us? And, you know, to me, it kind of makes some people maybe think again about filing these frivolous suits. So just a thought.
I would say definitely I'm gonna write it down, and I don't know that we can get it on the ballot, because there's time limits that we have to have certain things out and mailed to people before they can be voted on.
Okay.
So we may not be able to get it on this ballot. I have to go back and look at that time frame that we have to meet. It may only be 10 days, but to get it done prior to the 15th, I don't know that we legally could, or if it's even a legal matter that we can hold that way, but I'm putting it down, and I will message, and we will find out an answer to it.
Thank you.
Could we get a sheet in the office that people would like to sign up for?
Hang on, hey, Dan.
I'm Daniel Escobedo. We here are part of Indian Harbor. We all are. My question is that we are part of the group that elected them to represent us.
Here, here.
So I believe that your question is, I think that the board needs to file a lawsuit on behalf of us, the members of the community. That's all I got to say.
Can we get a show of hands if people would like to go with Dan's suggestion?
There you go.
There you go.
And I'm just as frustrated as y'all are, you know. I wish lawsuits in, we can debate this, whether we're hiding things, you know, I don't care about all that. All I can do is what this board is doing, and we're trying to be transparent, we're trying to be open, if you like it, and I'll give credit to Mr. Clarkson, he comes up here. I wish all the other people would come up. This is how we make the community, but if they don't want to, they don't want to. But this is how we get things done, and please, thank you, Dan. We're trying to do that. We're just regular neighbors. You know, we're not, you know, professionals, lawyers, you know, I'm not a CPA. We're just trying to, just like a city, we're like a city council, and we're trying to do the best that we can. And we are a steward for your money, and we need to try to spend it in the best way possible for everybody. We're not gonna make everybody happy. You know, I wish we could, but we're not. And so just kind of keep that in mind, and we do take everything that you're saying here to heart.
I can talk about it. I just got a couple, part of it's observations, part of it is questions. One of the observations are, you're selling us this increase. You're saying, hey, give me $25 more a year. For the people that have a fob, I'm saving you $90 a year by you giving me 25 more. For guys that don't have a fob, I'm saving you $25 a year for the 2 parking things to get to the gate. Fantastic. Staying under the same pretense, we have, and this gentleman brought it up, he's invested in multiple properties. Some of those properties may be contiguous, or they're adjoining each other. With PC 211, and I'm not going to go into the legality or anything else, but with PC 211, as it stands, the ability to replat some of these contiguous lots into a single lot exists now where it used to not exist. PC 211 opened that door. It opened that door for both good and bad reasons. potential way that you could sell, hey, give me $415 a year. You've got 3 lots, they all touch each other. You wanna go down and deal with, as long as the county will allow you to replat it. There's a lot of reasons why they do not allow it. But they do allow replatting. Caveat to replatting the lot is now that lot is subject to 2025 regulations and rules. A lot of these lots are grandfathered in under 1971 rules. A lot of things have changed, septic systems, easements, and all along that line. You have to keep that in mind when you approach this. But that is a way to sell this $400 a year assessment. I've been in HOAs before where the assessment dues were $90 a month. You know, and that was expected. That was, you got a swimming pool and you got gated access. No guards, nothing else, but that's all you got for your $90 a month. I don't see why we can't do that. That'll help some, like my neighbor, I live off Land's End Street. I've got, the gentleman that was just back there, I'm 3 lots over from his lot, and I've been slowly cleaning it up over the last 2 years. I work at the speed of time and money, and I usually short on both. But I mean, that would be something that I would like to see taken into consideration to sell this. That you might be able, like, you got the folks in the RV section, some of those folks own 4 lots. I think it's terribly unfair to make them pay for 4 lots, but if the county will let them replat it into 1, then I think that would be fair. But if they don't, the county doesn't allow it to happen, then the board has firm footing to stand. It's like, we gave you the option, the county said no, so you've got 2 choices, either pay for the multiple lot or sell the other lot off. Just something, food for thought on that right there. An observation. Non-disclosure agreement create no transparency.
Right.
And that's where a lot of trust is lost with past boards and the existing board. And any lawyer that recommends a non-disclosure agreement, they're trying to hide something that maybe folks should see. Mr. Clugston brings a lot of good points up in his Facebook post. There's a lot of stuff. Why is this being hidden? Why is that? And maybe we should revisit some of these NDAs and why were they put on? If they're put on by the plaintiff and not the defendant, like you guys didn't, you're like, hey, we don't care. We want our membership to know what came out here. And the plaintiff why does the plaintiff want to hide what the mediated agreement is? I don't know who put the NDA on. I don't care who put it on. I think it was a bad idea. And I think that's what's creating a lot of heartache at the moment. And again, it falls back to distrust and no transparency. You know, and that's kind of where I'm at. Final observation. I know I'm going like 3 minutes. I apologize.
Not you, you have 30 seconds.
Oh, well, you didn't yell. Okay, so I did read your now, on my other lot on Huron, and I was a little upset with this because I got code compliance called on me. I knew they drove around the neighborhood. I stopped in the office and said, hey, I have this property over here. I am cleaning it up, but it takes time, and I'm the only one person. And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, as long as you told us. And then, of course, I get my registered letter in the mail a month later and on, and the compliance officer's like, oh yeah, your HOA term due date. Oh, well, that's nice, so much for, open communication. Anyway, I'm done with that.
And I appreciate the comments. Going back to the lots. Anybody can, if you got 4 lots and you wanna make them into 1, you can do that. If you gotta pay the fees, you go down to the county to do that. So we can't keep you from doing that. But going back to the dues, when the harbor's done, all these lots, everything's based on X amount of number of lots, and that's how it comes in. Now, I do know we've talked in the past in RV section about, combining 2 lots into 1 and paying 1 deal. And I think the lawsuits started doing and happening, and that just kind of, faded away. Something that we probably should address, right now.
You have somebody with 3 lots, they're gonna be more apt to say, yes, let's go ahead and raise the assessment if they're allowed to replat those 2 lots into a single lot.
And that's something that we've mentioned before, but we just haven't got to it. We've got a lot going on with the lawsuits, but.
There seems to be a little bit. You can read. It's still too long to unless the membership decides.
Hold on, guys.
Hang on, please.
I won't try to speak for the whole board, but I like what you said. I understand what you're saying. There's no reason why we as a board can't take that up to see if you have two joining lots and you had to have one to put a septic on. I don't have a problem with the fact that you'd only pay for once. I won't speak for everybody else, but there's no reason why we can't address that, and I think we should address that.
The attorney said we couldn't.
It's been talked about in the past. Maybe it's just time to take it to a vote.
The attorney said we couldn't.
David chaired a committee last year.
Yes, I was on the.
And looked at, spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
It's not a popular proposition. That's what we, I mean,
No,
David.
David, I'm telling you right now.
Okay, hey, folks,
Hold on.
Larry, hang on a second. Are you finished?
I'm through.
Okay. I'm just trying to keep a little order in here.
Just to get to this thing, and then here we are, we're gonna invent the wheel again, but last year, we spent 2 years trying to put that together. We put it together. We wanted to put it on the ballot. It was voted down by the board, 7-2. 2 for and 7 against, because of the lack of popularity with everybody else. Everybody swarmed up here and said, we're not gonna let anybody not pay for their lot. So if you can, that would solve a bunch of these problems right here, they did that. But.
Big difference.
No,
Okay.
we had an assessment committee, and we looked at that, and we sent proposals to do that, and if it was my understanding, the attorney said we couldn't do it.
No.
Well, no.
No, that.
In Harbor can do it. We, after discussions on the committee, the lawsuits came up. Once the lawsuits came up, I pretty much decided, rightfully or not, that if we're gonna be sued by the same people we're trying to help, what is the reason for trying to help? So it kind of stopped there. Now that the lawsuits have been, I don't want to say concluded because they're not, they've been remediated, and now we need to get feedback from the community. We can either start up this committee again and look at that as an option to offer, but whatever we do, we still have to go through legal.
Well, then, I
But
think
you
we should
understand
put
where
that
I'm
committee
saying,
back
I don't
together.
know what to do, because I have all these lots.
I understand, but the response to that would be, as of right now, every lot's being assessed the same amount.
Right, and I understand that, because you don't have an answer.
Right.
And if you follow the quote Facebook stuff, we do have an answer, but we have an NDC, or an NDA, or whatever.
There's nothing that we would do.
Right, so I don't know what the truth is, and the only place I get the truth.
And I understand completely what you're saying. I'm just saying, as of right now, every lot's gonna be assessed the same amount. The expectations are that everybody will pay that for their lots, no matter how many lots they have. Now, the exception being a couple of
But in the meantime, I'm
phases.
not paying you.
Hang on, so.
Brent has something to say here.
Just real quick, just a point of clarity, and I'm not a lawsuit expert, I've been here the shortest amount of time. 2 lawsuits, right, the one that got mediated was around something else I can't talk about. But what you're talking about in 9 and 18, that is still out there and going to court again in Corpus Christi in May. So 9 and 18, if that's where your concern is, okay, then you'll have some clarity, hopefully.
But in the meantime, I'm not paying my assessment.
Correct.
Am I gonna get nailed in May?
It's possible.
With all
Yeah,
of these
possible.
Absolutely.
Why aren't you paying your
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And the other part, they say, okay, I paid you, what happens to my money?
Oh, Denny.
You get
I guess they don't love me anymore.
But you down Indian Harbor with me, I'm just saying, if they made the lawsuit because of my fee, okay? And now I have $1,200 a month for 5, 6, 7 months, plus more, because it's gonna go in May, then you still gotta wait for an answer, so you're probably.
I think I'm gonna leave. Y'all have a good day. I've had enough.
No,
I really do, and I think what we should do is go back to PMI and say, all right, for the folks in 918 that we're about to assess in January, right? What does that mean if the lawsuit goes this way, or if the lawsuit goes that way, okay? And I don't necessarily agree with late fees associated with that, if, you know, but I'm one person.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said before,
Okay.
when somebody told me the fee used to be $2 a month, that's ridiculous. You know, that's not fair either, but, I'm talking about the monthly fee, that's.
Okay.
Real quick on the, assessments, and I understand the position you're in, and I wish we could answer your question for you.
I understand.
And we just can't, I mean, regardless, we just can't, even with the lawsuits still in appeal.
And I didn't even
But
file a
there's,
lawsuit.
yeah, I know, but there's two sides to that coin, right? So you can pay, and wait on a lawsuit, or you can not pay and wait on the lawsuit. But in general, Indian Harbor, as a homeowners association, we have to, by our governing documents, assess everybody per lot exactly the same. So it doesn't say if there's not a lawsuit, or if you have two lots and you need to have one for a septic. At this point in time, we have to put that on your account. Now, like Greg said, I think
You have to pay the bill.
you have to pay the bill that's sitting there, or the consequences that come with not, or if we, God forbid, lose the appeal and we have to pay back, that's on us. We'll do what we have to do. So you're in a situation, but we are too. Like, it's just as uncertain as you are, we are too. We're like, what do we do with that money that these people are paying if we do lose the lawsuit? Now we gotta make sure we have this chunk of money so we can pay it back to these people that did pay. So that's what I'm saying is, there's no real answer except for the fact that we are all trying to be as fair as we can to everybody and account for everything that we can possibly think of. Our email threads on one little item can be 60 answers. Email threads from years ago would have maybe 2 people. We are talking back and forth as a board. We are trying to, but what about this and what about that and what about that? We literally are trying. And that's all I can tell you is, have faith in us that we are doing the best we can for all of y'all.
Okay, I'll say this, it's been 2 hours, and I'm all open for I think it's a great turnout. I love the questions. I don't want to get in a real debate, because I want to hear what everybody
Greg, I
has
wrote
to
that
say.
down too.
And, but is there any more questions about the presentation?
That was good.
That was good.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you folks for coming out, we appreciate your time. And, I'll go ahead and we'll end this, and, I'm sure the board will be up here if somebody wants to talk to us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And that's my cue to leave.